Well, we've got winds coming in out of the north and west right now at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. They're going to be picking up throughout the day. Temperatures right now upper 30s and low 40s. So grab the heavy jacket as you head out the door. We've got this secondary cold front that's dropping across central Pennsylvania throughout the day today, and that is going to pick up our winds. You also notice a few snow showers and snow flurries flying around in northern PA. So for us, we've just got some early clouds, so look for temperatures around 40 degrees, but should be good to go as we head outside. Watch for those gusty winds later on today. Highs today in the mid-50s.
Good morning and a happy Wednesday to you. Checking in with our viewing area this morning where you can see everything's moving a-okay. Lots of green on our screen. Always a very nice thing to see in the morning. No issues around the Capitol Beltway for us. The PA Turnpike is moving nicely. Same goes for 283 if you're heading up towards the Eisenhower Exchange. Our river routes and inner-city Harrisburg roads are moving good too. That's a look at your members first traffic alert.
All right, Ashley, new numbers are in about the opioid epidemic, and the results are alarming.
Last year, Pennsylvania saw nearly 37,000 hospital visits because of opioid-related problems.
CBS 21's Michael Gorsegner is diving into the numbers. He is live in New York with a breakdown of the cost to everyone. Michael.
Al, good morning. Here in York County, this community has one of the highest rates of hospitalizations. About 500 people hospitalized for every 100,000 residents here because of opioid-related problems. The scariest part is at this point, statewide, the numbers appear to be trending up. The study conducted by the Pennsylvania Healthcare Cost Containment Council shows 36,712 people visited the hospital last year because of opioid-related problems. The research taking into account three factors: overdoses, hospitalizations where opioid use disorder was the primary reason for the admission, and visits where the patient was admitted for another condition but had opioid use disorder as well. That third category being the biggest, sitting at some 83%. The cost to society and our wallets, huge.
The cost impacts are fairly dramatic, and we're all paying for it. If it's in Medicare, we're paying for it through our taxes. If it's in Medicaid, we're paying for it through our taxes in the state budget. If it's in the commercial sector, we're paying for it in our insurance premiums.
Now, there may be a bit of a silver lining in the research. Hospitalizations increased 103% from 2008 to 2015. Of course, that's no good. However, it did level off in both 2016 and 2017. Now, the Health Containment Council hopes that this first-of-its-kind compilation of all of this data will help some people take a look and try and come up with some new ideas that may help beat this epidemic. Live in New York, Michael Gorsegner, CBS 21 News.
Thank you, Michael. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is in Turkey right now, where officials claim to have evidence that a missing journalist was murdered inside the Saudi consulate.
Pompeo says no one will be spared in their probe, including members of the royal family. U.S. resident Jamal Khashoggi, who wrote critically about the Saudis for the Washington Post, vanished on October 2nd. But President Trump is criticizing condemnation of Saudi Arabia, comparing it to sex assault allegations against Brett Kavanaugh by saying, here we go again with your guilty until proven innocent.
And it depends whether or not the king or the crown prince knew about it, in my opinion. Number one, what happened, but whether or not they knew about it. If they knew about it, that would be bad.
CBS News is reporting the Saudis are preparing a plan where they will say Khashoggi's death was the result of an interrogation gone wrong.
John Dickerson sat down with House Speaker Paul Ryan and talked about the disappearance of Khashoggi. That full interview coming up on CBS this morning after we're done here at 7.
And on the other side of the globe, we're tracking Secretary of Defense James Mattis this morning. Mattis has just arrived in Singapore. There he's set for a meeting with Asian defense ministers to reaffirm defense relationships with some key leaders. Now, this is on the tail of his trip to Vietnam, where Mattis says he's aiming to make amends for some parts of the Vietnam War.
All right, Ashley, a Roman Catholic priest accused of sexually abusing 2 boys and having one confess afterward is scheduled to appear in a Western Pennsylvania courtroom today. 65-year-old Reverend David Lee Paulson was arrested in May. Court documents show he is scheduled for a plea hearing, although it does not specify what type of plea. Paulson is one of 2 priests charged as a result of a statewide grand jury investigation that concluded 300 priests had abused at least 1,000 children.
Today is the last day of session for Pennsylvania lawmakers, and all eyes are on a bill created in the wake of that grand jury report. But as CBS 21's Amanda Hoskins reports, talks are stalling over a provision about lawsuits.
Legislators left the Capitol today with a number of issues still on the table, including Senate Bill 261, which includes a retroactive component, a window that would allow past victims of child sexual abuse who are past their statute of limitations a chance to file civil suits.
This bill needs to change so that all victims can have their day in court.
Since the bill passed in the House last month, victims have continued to flood the Capitol with signs and messages for their senators. But time for convincing is running out.
We're as close as we've ever been. It would be a shame to get this far with this much effort and not achieve something.
Senator Dalen Leach tells me there's been a lot of discussions, people trying to reach agreements. But ultimately, he thinks if the bill, as it were to get to the floor, it would pass.
Scarnati has some concerns, and again, I've spoken to him. I don't think his concerns are irrational, but I think there are ways to address them.
Senator Leach says he and others will continue to look for compromises and additions to the bill that could address concerns.
Maybe someone will have a moment of clarity and say, oh yes, that is the answer, and we'll be able to move forward.
Amanda Hoskins, CBS 21 News this morning.
All right, Amanda. Well, happening today, activists hoping to organize citizens and lawmakers will be meeting at the Capitol to bring the ideas of their agenda to the forefront.
CBS 21's Joe Ducey is live in Harrisburg this morning with more about the group We the People. Morning, Joe.
Hey, Sherry Al, good morning. Organizers of the We the People campaign say over 100 General Assembly candidates have endorsed the agenda, and dozens are expected to be here today in a show of support for the movement. Organizers of the campaign say it's time for lawmakers to pursue common sense economic solutions that'll benefit all Pennsylvanians. They say they're focused on making government more responsive to the needs of the people and stress the importance of investing in the middle class and raising living standards for everyday Pennsylvanians. We the People agenda has 6 main components, including raising wages and improving working conditions, adequately funding education, protecting rights of what organizers say are necessities of life such as healthcare and housing, investing in infrastructure and safeguarding the environment, fixing what some say is a rigged tax system that favors the wealthy and corporate institutions, and securing democracy to make sure everyone has a voice in government.
Ultimately, we'd like the parties to come back together in the center and embrace an agenda of working people and middle class support, because for too long in the state, we've had a corporate agenda dominating our politics.
Today's event gets underway at 11 o'clock in the main rotunda here at the Capitol. Reporting live in Harrisburg, Joe Ducey, CBS 21 News.
Thank you, Joe. Residents continue to pick up the pieces a week after Hurricane Michael ripped through the Florida Panhandle, where the death toll stands now and how you can chip in to help.
Plus, Canada goes green when marijuana will hit the shelves as our neighbor to the north legalizes recreational use of pot. Steve.
Yeah, we've got a chilly start to the day, upper 30s, low 40s. Secondary cold front coming through. I'll let you know when the winds are going to get really gusty with my first morning forecast.